I'm gonna have my kids come in and bring in the.
We're live.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we're live. We're live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Furry, Scaley, and Feathered Friends. I'm Gail D. Villanueva, and this is Hershey. I'm the author of My Faith According to the Butterfly and Sugar and Spice. So let's introduce our panelists first, and their companions, and then yes, Hershey. We will make the disclaimers later after the introductions. Okay. So take it away, Mae.
Oh, hi everybody. My name is Mae Respicio. This is Riggs Respicio. He's about how old are you, Riggs? About 6 months old, so he's a puppy. And then in a little bit, you guys will hopefully meet Yogi and Crash, our 2 pet rats. My boys are going to bring them in. And I am a middle grade author. This is my latest book, Any Day with You.
Tracy?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Badua, and this is Sandy, and that's a picture of her with a Filet-O-Fish on her head. Sandy is a Maltese. She's about 9 years old, and I am a middle grade writer. My debut, Freddie versus the Family Curse, comes out next year, spring 2022.
Alice, sorry.
Hi, I'm Alice. I write under A.Y. Chao. This is Deuce. He is, oh my gosh, he's like 16 years old. He's old. He's an old man. And he's my little furry companion. My book, Soul Affinity, is coming out in August this year. It's my debut. And I write fantasy.
Lydia?
Hi, everybody. I'm Lydia Kang. This is Sawyer. He is our little rescue Yorkie poo. He's about 1.5 years old. And then later on, you will meet Piper and maybe a couple other guys. I am the author of Opium and Absinthe, which just came out last July, and as well as young adult books like Toxic and The November Girl. Oh, by the way, he may occasionally sniff my face. It's a little habit of his. So if he suddenly looks very concerned and he's all in my face, this is a normal thing for him.
Thank you. Yes. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sangu Mandanna. My cat is up on top of my desk, so he may or may not show up. His name is Sola. He's just under 1 year old. And when he does appear, he is super cute, but he is also very uncooperative. So I'll do my best. Until now, I've mostly written YA. I'm the author of books like the Celestial Trilogy, the last of which is out next month. And my debut middle grade, Kiki Kallira Breaks a Kingdom, is out in July.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with a disclaimer. My little one here, little Hershey, is still around 3 weeks old, I believe. But just like any duck, she doesn't have butt muscles. So every now and then you might hear a pooping sound. Sounds like a bit of a fart. I just want to make it clear that it's not me, okay? It's Hershey. So I gotta say that out loud, because the last time that we had her first school visit, she totally farted, and everyone thought they knew that she was in the screen somewhere, but I'm just really glad I told them about her, or they would have thought that I was the one who farted. Okay, let's just make that clear. I mean, one of our agenda. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna blame the animal fam. Yes, I'm reading comments, and just another thing. Feel free to leave comments, and if you have questions for us, just leave it in the comment section, and our moderator will put it up on the screen for everyone to answer. So let's talk about, since we're in the subject of pooping, pet parts. Well, I swear we're gonna get to this sort of serious stuff later. We gotta get it out of the way, okay? So
let's talk about animal farts the whole time. So let's
yeah, we have to get it out of the way.
Well, this guy's elderly, he's Yeah, he can't see or hear very well, but he farts a lot. He's like a little accordion. If you squeeze too hard, it's quite loud. So you gotta be gentle with him. Poor guy. He's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, looking away.
Poor thing. You know, I think they do get embarrassed. Like, I think they're very aware of that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
my two dogs, so Piper is 5 years old and she has these very ladylike, tiny little like dudes. They're adorable. And then this guy has the silent but deadly. So like you'll just be sitting there working and all of a sudden this like gas just like comes and overwhelms you and they're horrible. And I like to blame it on the fact that he's just like a stinky little boy and that's just what he does. But oh my God, they can be a little overwhelming. Like they will stop me from working for a little while. Like, it's my birthday. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's bad.
Sandy's definitely on the silent but deadly kind of part, and it's interesting because we have a toddler at home, so there's always like we'll be walking around, we'll be like, "What's that smell? Who's it coming from?" Like we have to like investigate. And, like, it's not as good as it sounds. Trying to find the source of the poop smell is like the worst game in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, we play that game all the time.
But yeah, my kid, I can tell the difference. If it's this one, we have another dog, and then I have a little girl, and I'm like, I know which one is which.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can tell the difference, and sometimes it's just like, who is that? But no, I mean, when they're really bad, like Sola is definitely of the silent kid.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I know, it's embarrassing. She pooped and she had to like. She's so embarrassed. It's okay, baby.
Poor baby.
I know we did the disclaimer of like my dog may poop or like my duck may poop. I'm gonna do a disclaimer. I make faces at animals, so I'm actually making faces at each of your pets, and I realize they don't see me back. In case you see me emote, it's because I'm looking at someone's cat or someone's dog.
So one thing is for sure, like when you become a pet owner, you start like you lose that, you know, that appropriate social distance you have with people, and like someone will walk by with a dog, and all of a sudden you're like, you start making these like baby noises, and like you drive by somebody walking a dog, you're like puppy, and I think my kids are so used to it now, they're like it's normal behavior, but I think with non-pet owners, they're like you're weird. You're making these squishy. What is a squishy hand thing that you're doing when you're nearby a dog? You're like.
Gail, is the peeping that I'm hearing, is that Hershey? Is that
it's Hershey?
Oh, I can hear that. This is so sweet.
Yeah, she likes butting in every now and then.
Oh.
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry, Hershey.
She's so cute.
She likes attention.
We should have like a technical difficulties screen of like somebody may be pooping. Something that comes up.
And a little warning sign, you know, hand gesture or something. Little poop's coming.
Don't be surprised if any one of us suddenly just stand up. Oops, excuse me, something happened. Because I'm totally gonna expect that. Yeah, sorry.
When I'm walking the dog here, like I tend to know, you know, all the dogs' names, but you don't necessarily know the people's names. Like you're like, oh, there's Elmo and there's Piper and there's whoever, and you like say hello to them, and like the owners just kind of are like, yeah, this has nothing to do with me, whatever. They like greet your dog, but you don't greet each other. It's really funny. It's like,
okay, it's like totally embarrassing. I mean, when we moved to this neighborhood, our next door neighbor doesn't really go out much, and the only time that I found out her name was like 2 years ago, when there was like and it was just accidental, and all throughout those 8 years that we were here, all we knew that her name was Candy's mom. Candy and Sugar's mom, and you can bet that Candy and Sugar are her beagles.
That's such a magical way to meet people. Like, when I walk rigs, I just meet so many people, and you can tell who loves dogs because they just, they want to start talking about their dogs and introducing them. So it's pretty fun. And look, we have 2 more special guests. That's correct. Yogi. Hi, Yogi.
Hi, Yogi.
Oh,
Oh my God, he's so cute.
So chill.
Normally,
Because of course, he looks gigantic.
It's
And
really
Riggs is
chill.
okay with the rats? Is
Sorta.
Riggs okay with
He knows when they're around, so they've got like a pen that they're in, and he can smell them like when the boys take them out. So we kind of have to keep them away. But yeah, it's interesting. I think his instinct is he just wants to like chomp them.
Yeah, probably it's the hunting instinct. Yes, Hershey is not a dog. Reading comments. Hershey is not a dog. She's a duckling. She's actually
Yeah,
like
I saw that comment. I was like, oh, yeah. Not a
what
dog.
was it? Her breed, I believe, is an Indian runner and a Pekin duck.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Wow.
she's kind of like she's gonna look interesting. Have no idea how she's gonna look like. So it's just a matter of genes. So why don't we like start with a little bit on the writing side? What do they do? What are pets when they're supposed to be helping us?
Do you all write with your pets, in the same room? Like, will they sit there while you're writing or drafting?
sometimes, yeah. I mean, every now and then he will. He's not a lap cat, though I very much wish he was. So he will often just kind of sit next to me and have his sort of like just some part of his body touching some part of my body while I'm sort of on the laptop. Not helpful, very distracting. Mostly I just spend my time going, oh.
I know.
Yeah.
So I definitely, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I definitely write with my dog. So I used to write all over the place. Like I used to go to cafes and write, or, stores. I just would go all over the place, like in the parking lot, waiting for my kids and stuff like that. And then once we got her about 5 years ago. This is Piper, by the way. Say hi, Piper.
Hi,
She's a Shih Tzu. Hello. And so as soon as I got her, I was home all the time because I didn't want to like go somewhere else and leave her at home. And so I write almost exclusively at home now because of the dogs, and they hang out next to me. So they'll just, if I'm sitting at a table, they'll be sitting like on either side of me. And if I'm like sitting on a couch, they're like all over me. And Piper like stays away from the laptop, but Sawyer doesn't. He thinks the laptop is like part of my body, so he will walk across the keyboard all the time. No. And he's like ruined like sentences, like things that I've written, and then he's like deleted them and put in like words and stuff. So I have to be kind of careful because he will just stomp all over my keyboard because he doesn't know any better at all.
It's a bad idea to do promo on my cell phone when I have this little girl on my lap. But she uses her beak. That's the thing with the beak. This little beak. It actually acts like some kind of a stylus, It can act like a stylus. And then,
ouch.
Oh no.
I mean, sometimes if you see I'm supposed to be like tweeting a promo, something related to my rating on my book or something. And then Hershey is going to have something to say. So she's going to like randomly type whatever on my screen and then accidentally press send. And I think my friend Remy Lai, she wrote Find the Sky. And I do believe she has one coming up, Picasso. I chat with her often, and she often gets random texts from me, like random messages, like total gibberish. She's like used to it. It's like, probably she's not like she doesn't ask anymore because she knows she is probably like on my phone. and that's the thing when I'm trying to write. I mean, she had this stage where she's like she just wanted to be around me all the time. And I believe that she was like this big just a few weeks ago. Yeah. Unfortunately, whenever I type, she feels the need to want to type as well. So it's like really hard to write a decent sentence with her around. She just has to do that. This troublemaker big is like,
I mean,
it makes writing
tough.
hard.
It's like a cute problem to have of like, oh, my guys love me too much, so I can't write. Like, Sandy's definitely, she definitely likes to sit on my lap and get in the way of my keyboard too. So she that's her way of helping.
So I see the question on screen, how do your pets act as your muse? Have your pets inspired your writing or any characters or any of your books?
So I actually have 2 cats in a book I'm working on right now that are both based on my cats.
Cool.
But I think that might be the first time I've ever included a pet in my work. Other than when I was very little, maybe. We had dogs when I was a child, and I probably put my dogs into most of my stories.
My dogs aren't in my stories, but for some reason, roosters always make an appearance, which is really, I don't know where it's coming from. It's really bizarre, but in every story I've written so far, there are roosters.
I think that's a sign. That maybe.
I'm gonna have to get some roosters. Put them in the backyard.
I think so. I put a pet pig in one of my first stories. It was like a genetically altered pig. Yeah, I don't have a genetically altered pig as a pet, but I do I'm working on a manuscript for something, and I did put Piper and Sawyer in them. But we'll see if we'll see if they show up or not in the end. I'm not sure.
Are they genetically modified?
No.
I was thinking they might be superheroes or something.
No. It's a flying genetically modified dog that eats chicken chips and steps on your keyboard. Sabotages the writers you don't like. I don't know.
That's your breath.
She's not going to reveal their secret superhero identities on YouTube.
Exactly.
Really
Actually, she's a cat. No, I
have not written Sandy into anything, but I have written her nemesis Pomeranian who lives down the street. They hate each other, and I needed a pet in something in Freddie, so the Pomeranian is in the book.
You know what? She's gonna be a bigger nemesis now.
Imagine she's to read, we're done for.
Isn't there, and then the Pomeranian, the nemesis in your book. How dare you, Tracy?
Does she go head to head with the Pomeranian, or does she back off?
She's a total scaredy cat, so they will bark at each other from across the street, and then that's about it. Like the Pomeranian one time started approaching, and then Sandy just got really, really just like, how dare you try to cross the street? And then that's about as confrontational as they get. They just run back to their houses. Like it's not anything like super scary.
Well, you gotta have something now. Like imagine you wrote the nemesis, but you didn't write Sandy.
I know.
Sandy. I've been trying to write my pets into books because it's funny when I go to author visits, and I talk about the writing process. I talk about, I have this puppy and these pet rats, and they're sort of my muse, and they help me when I'm writing because I go visit them when I need a little break or when I need to cuddle. And so kids are always like, "Oh, can you write about rats?" And it's interesting that they just want to know about the pets when I do author visits. They don't really want to know about the books or the but they're an interesting answer because I think they're so universal. People are curious about them, or they just love pets so much. So I've been trying to figure that out too, but I just haven't landed on like the character or how they even come into the books yet. But that's my next thing is I want to write Riggs into a book.
Me, I already have my
Yay!
This one, in My Faith According to the Butterflies tab, the main character here has a pet duck, and his name is Lawin, and he's based on my duck in heaven. My duck in heaven named Mahal. There you go. Yeah. Gotta stay away from Hershey because she's very jealous. And the other one for Sugar and Spike, as you can see in the cover, there's like there's a dog on it, and it's actually based on my own dog named Kubrick. His the main character's dog, Jelena's dog, is based on Kubrick.
That has
really
a great question.
Yeah. Oh,
what's that?
Check it out. Why do you think we are so drawn to reading and writing about animals? That's a good one.
that's a good
Yeah.
one.
I mean,
Why?
it's kind of like what that was mentioned earlier, you know, like as a pet person, you see other pets, you're like, oh my gosh. I feel like it's that same thing of like, if I see someone else walking around with a dog, or if I'm reading about a dog, I'm like, oh, nothing better happened to this pet in this book. I'm going to be so mad.
Oh, is that why you hate me?
oh, Gail.
Oh no! Are you saying something
No
happens to the
spoilers,
cat?
but I'm not over it.
I made a lot of enemies with that book, with the second book. I had a reviewer tell me, like in a video, I don't know, like a video discussion about my Sugar Inspired, say like, Gail, I don't want to see you at the moment. Let's not meet each other in real life. I don't know what I'll do to you if I see you right now.
I think they have such personalities as well, right? So, like, especially if you have a pet, you know they remember, you know they feel, you know that they really are like, I mean, they are like little people. Like, this guy is like, he is a little tyrant. Like, he's super sweet, and he would never get mad at anyone. Like, my daughter used to sit on him, and I mean, he basically would just kind of go to say that he's not very happy about it, but that's it. Like, no growling, no snapping, nothing at all. But like, if you're late with his dinner, he lets you know. He like hops up and down, and he makes this really. He sounds like a little pterodactyl, and he's like really mad, but he's really small and really round, so it's kind of quite comical. But yeah, he's like a little tyrant. He's like, feed me now. He gets his message across.
And you know, there's such a curiosity too about like, well, what are they thinking and what are they feeling? My boys and I are always trying to guess what's going through his head, and there's such a curiosity about that makes you, you know, want to imagine what's going on inside of them. So.
Yeah, I think like, you know, honestly, for, you know, being a writer, a lot of times I'm home alone with my manuscript and, you know, stressing out about something, and having them nearby just as a comfort is so nice. And I think a lot of people find comfort in animals, period, because like they can't cuss at you. Well, okay, they cuss in their own way, but it's like they can't like verbally cuss at you. Normal people cuss at you. And like they're just so like, they're just, you know, if you give them a ton of love, they give you so much love back. And human interactions are so much more complicated than that, you know? So there is just this natural kind of like just amazing like love and cuddliness that you can get from, well, not all animals are super cuddly, but still like this sort of like.
Yeah, watch this. I'm going to be like, hello. Oh no, let's try this way. Come cuddle with me. Cuddle with me. Yeah, he's more cat-like.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Like, some of them they're very simple in a sense. Like, it's mostly feed me, I love you, I want to sleep, good night, I love you, where are you, can I see you? That's it. No complications, no drama. Well, there is if you feed them late.
Yeah, feed them like
and you don't walk. Yeah, they'll let you know. I mean, at least they're straightforward, and that's the thing I love about pets. And going back to what you said about the characters, I do believe their personalities are so large that sometimes you just want to make a book out of them as readers. Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to make one of my ducks because they have like different personalities, and you'd be surprised. I mean, like, look at his head; it's so small. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to let her hear it, but I'm not even sure. Like, the brain is probably this big.
Yeah, tiny little brains.
Tiny little brains. But you'd be surprised they're so full of personalities. I mean, like, for example, Hershey here, she loves attention. Her sister, Twix, has this like a separation anxiety every time she's away from Hershey, and her other sister, Milky Way. They're all chocolates, by the way. Milky Way. Milky Way is more like a loner. She doesn't like being touched. She doesn't like, she basically does her thing on her own. And it's interesting that these little creatures have their own personalities. It's so interesting, so much that sometimes that we can't help but just, write them in. Oh, we have another question.
Oh, Anne has a great question.
Yes.
Oh, none of those sad ones. I hate all the sad ones. Watership Down, Old Yeller, the ones where the Fox and the Hound destroyed me. Like I cried so hard in the theater that the mom had to call my mom to pick me up because I was so distraught. It's like, no. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, I love Charlotte's Web. I thought that was.
That one's
amazing. Charlotte's Web was the first book I remember crying during.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I was like,
bawling.
Who's this writer? Why did they do this to me? And I'm like, it's terrible. And then they do the same thing, and I'm like, oh, come full circle.
One of my favorite childhood books is called Rascal by Sterling North, which I think not a lot of people have actually read it, but it's about a boy who lives in Wisconsin, and he adopts a baby raccoon that in retrospect he didn't really have to adopt because he basically just chased the mother off and there was a baby, so he took the baby. But it was heartwarming when I was a kid when I read it. And so he adopts this baby raccoon and he lives with it, and it's around 1918 that story took place. And so it actually ended up forming a lot of influences on me as far as his relationship with nature and what it was like to live during World War I and what it was like to live through the influenza pandemic, which ended up becoming a huge part of A Beautiful Poison, which is one of the books that I wrote. So that was one of the first animal books that I have really vivid memories of how he this raccoon was obsessed with shiny jewelry things, and so would it stole his sister's engagement ring. I'm it was just a really fantastic book. So that was one of my very first favorite animal pet books.
I remember reading, or the first book where there were animals that really had a personality was The Rats of Nim.
Oh, yeah.
And so I reread that with one of my sons a couple years ago, and it's about this mom mouse who is basically trying to save her son by getting her house moved by these really smart society of rats. And so it was interesting to read that now being a pet rat owner, because rats are actually, domestic rats they're super smart. You can train them so easily. They know all these tricks. So I remember that pretty vividly. Did anyone else read that?
I remember having a big crush on the lead rat, the one from the movie, because it had an animated movie, right? And I remember being a child and thinking he was he's so handsome and dashing.
Well, my childhood crush was a lion. It was Simba of the Lion.
Oh,
it was really hot. For a lion.
I thought Nala was pretty hot, actually. Oh, so this is a good question from NYC. What are your thoughts of creating mythological creatures based on your different pets? This is a question from a 10-year-old.
Wow, that's a good one.
That's a really nice question.
Awesome.
I'd make a foo dog out of mine.
Mythological. Well, actually, in one of my books that I'm writing, it's a fantasy. It's one of those books that I'm writing on the side of the things that I have to write. Here in the Philippines, we have a giant, what they call a monkey eating eagles. They're really huge bird. And when you say monkey eating eagle, it literally can eat an monkey. They're that huge. So
Wow.
I was thinking of incorporating the monkey eating eagle with my little ducks. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I was like thinking about like making them like some kind of a magical, kind of like the eagles that you see in the what do you call this? The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But their wings, they can't fly. Their wings are like Hershey's.
Nice.
We call this the buffalo wing. My husband. We call this the buffalo wing. Look at that. It's
So cute.
It looks like a buffalo wing because like the ducks have this like the ugly velociraptor stage. Like this, they're like, I mean, everything is like out of proportion. Like their head is bigger than their legs are so big and their wings are like so
Look, we
tiny.
were all awkward as kids.
Yeah, it's like the awkwardest stage ever. And they were thinking, like, yeah, why don't we make like magical ducks instead of like but they can fly and they have these little wings. And what if these little guys have wings and they can fly? And my character writes it, and it's kind of like my husband is like, it's kind of weird, but go you.
I like it. Do it.
It's your book, whatever.
So I have an idea. It's not exactly a mythological idea. So by the way, I wear this sweater all the time, and I just wrap Sawyer up in it so that I can have free hands.
He
And then
looks
just,
so
like, falls
comfortable.
asleep on my shoulder. So it looks like I ate a very large turkey, but actually this is just my sweater. So I have an idea that let's imagine that all 6 authors, that our animals are our muses, and they are the way in which we get our ideas for our stories. And then for some reason, the animals all get stolen, and then we can't write our stories and the book is about us trying to find the animals, and so that we can all get our stories back. And it turns out all animals all over the place are being stolen, and then stories are all on hold and can't be written because someone has decided to steal them away.
I think you have an idea there, Lydia.
I think that sounds like a book. You should
Write it. We'll write it. We'll write it.
You should write it.
I like how we just got volunteered to write it. Aww. I'm trying to, going back to the question about the different mythological creatures. In my head, I was trying to think of different, like mythological creatures that Sandy could be, and I was like, she would look kind of awkward with wings, and like I don't think she could even do like a centaur or like minotaur kind of thing where she's like body of a person, Sandy's head. It's just like it's all terrible. I'm gonna have to like think about this one a little bit more. It's too good of a question.
Yeah.
But Sandy can be like that dog in Never Ending Story. Falcor.
The one that he rides at the end.
Yeah, the giant Maltese with scales. What are those scales? Like the dragon dog. I forgot. But basically, it's like a huge dog, and he has like, I think his wings are the ones. His
Ears, yeah.
His ears, giant ears, are the ones that's flapping and making him fly.
Oh, she does not take being sat on as kindly as Alice's dog. So we'll have to think about this one.
She'll probably throw you off, like where you're really high up in the sky already. She's like, she finally says, "Oh, I don't want Tracy on my back." And then you die, and then the end. That's it.
There you go, right to hell.
You should write it now. It's
And then
over.
they die at the end. That's great. This is
Does anybody
Obi.
watch
He's like,
Hilda?
is that little girl, the German girl? It's like a cartoon.
It's a cartoon on Netflix, and she has like a pet that's called a deer fox. But it's basically like a dog with antlers, and I always feel like he looks like he's a deer fox, except he's missing the antlers. But I feel like they look like exactly like the same creature.
Will he do that with you when you're writing? Just snuggle up to you as you're like on your laptop?
I think I probably could. Yes, I think it's possible.
I can't believe he hasn't moved.
Most of the time I do this. So after dinner, after we eat, he taps my butt or my leg. He just like taps me and he's like, it's time for my after dinner snuggle. And so he demands to be picked up after dinner and then snuggled, and he'll take a nap on my shoulder like this for like a little bit. And then after that he wants to play. But like that's usually what he does. But he's sort of in this sort of mid-afternoon.
That's so cute.
He's like a baby.
I know.
I can't stop watching Lydia.
It's like the reverse of what, like, you know, the Korean ajumas do when they stick a baby on their back and they wrap it, you know, so they can walk around with it. Except mine's in the front.
Yeah.
When all my kids were little, when they were tiny, I would wear them on my front.
Yes.
And there were many times when I would also try and kind of like type around them, like you put your arms around this child.
Yeah.
I don't think your cats would like that though.
No.
The cats are more like you know, my terms.
Yeah.
I will do it whenever I want, whatever I want.
Mine like their space. They're very I will come to you, you stay away from me.
Yeah. I'll just show you Obi. He's
a doggy.
Hi, Obi.
Oh, he's my Obi. He's got a treat. He's like, give me that treat.
Oh, I want to answer Van's question. What's an animal you've always wanted as a pet?
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to say a capybara.
I want a dragon.
Oh, who doesn't want a
I want a
capybara?
capybara. I want a
Dragon.
That's like a giant hamster.
I always wanted a parrot.
So chill. It's just, you know, he can like sit amongst the alligators, like literally, and they won't bother him because he's just that chill. I mean,
You all have such nice, reasonable ideas. Me, I just want
Someone
my
said dragon. Yeah. Was that you?
yours is just a dragon.
Nope, dragon. That's it.
I am writing Pishu. They're like Chinese mythological creatures in my current whip. And they're just so fun because they have like a kind of like a dragon's head with antlers, but they also breathe fire and they have wings and they've got like a tufty like, furry tail. So they're quite fun. In my story, they're like puppies. Like they're fierce and they breathe fire, but they behave like puppies, which is really fun to write. I love puppies, really do.
That's the kind of pet I want.
Me too.
Yeah, like a big, huge.
But I'm allergic.
I would love to get a Maine Coon or something, like one of those huge, feral-looking cats. But like we're all allergic to cats, so that's not going to happen. And then we were thinking for a little while about getting a rat. So we're going to have a little discussion about that. And I always wanted a bird too, but they're such a commitment. They're like a lifelong commitment.
Oh yeah, they are.
You have to like put them into your will. So like if you die, who's going to take care of this parrot for the next 50 years? So that's always been like, I don't know if I can handle that kind of commitment. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons why my husband doesn't feel comfortable getting a sulcata, one of a tortoise, because they can like
they
grow
live
as old as
so
like,
long.
yeah, and they live for like 100 years.
Yes.
They're gonna literally outlive you. So
Yep, that's right. Anne had a bird for 30 years already.
Wow.
oh wow.
That's amazing.
I like one of my kids' teachers had like two parrots that lived for like 35 years or so, but he would always feed it turkey and provolone, and I always thought there was something really wrong about that.
Maybe that was the secret.
It's like Lunchables for your parents.
Yes, exactly. It was like Lunchables for a parrot, and I was like, oh, it's like feeding chicken. I'm like, there's something really not right.
Yeah, there's not. Although we had a sparrowhawk land in our garden, and it had some bird. And it basically disemboweled, like plucked all the feathers off, disemboweled it, had a really nice meal, and then flew off with the rest of it for a snack, I guess. Yeah. I was like, brutal. The animal world is brutal.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, I remember like we had chickens before, and they caught these. It's a tiny snake, a baby snake, and you're after like playing football with it. Like literally, like, chasing each other, trying to bump each other, trying to get the this little snake from each other. They ended up like playing a tug of war until it broke apart. So it was like, oh my gosh, this is like watching Nat Geo Wild.
Wow.
It was so brutal to see it.
Can
Oh
we
my
take
God,
a moment to like appreciate Mae's dog doing
I was
the
just going to
look
say,
at his legs. I love it when they do the thing with their legs. That is so he does it too.
I love it.
You know, he's got these two really comfy, you know, fluffy beds, but he won't sleep on them. He sleeps like that, just like spread out like
he likes the
Love
ground
it. I
school.
love it.
cool down here.
The forest.
I'm
Oh,
surprised all of our pets have sort of lasted this long. I was waiting for chaos at some point.
I know.
So
Opie's
great.
down here now. He's just
Well, I
lying
got
the
pooped on
floor.
twice already, so
Easy.
what the heck?
Hello.
Sandy definitely farted at some point, so it's really good that you can
Yeah, I mean,
tell us.
I have like poop already. Okay, I won't tell them. I won't tell them.
Oh.
She doesn't want me to
Don't
tell
worry,
you that she pooped twice.
Watching.
I know.
Gail, did you raise
Nowhere.
Gail,
This
did you raise Hershey from an egg?
Yes.
Really? So did you incubate? You had to incubate the egg and
Yeah, we
everything?
did. My husband made this makeshift incubator. So
Oh.
humans are the first mom and dad that they've seen. So
And then they
Like-
imprint on you? Is
why
that
they imprint on you.
okay?
That's why she's like this. So clingy.
Aw.
I actually
likes
didn't know that they had different personalities until I started following Gail on Instagram, and she was talking about them. I was like, oh gosh, they sound like their own little personalities. That's so cool.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's actually surprising. Before we never really thought that ducks can be so different in terms of personality. But like right now, even my ducks, the ones that I have, like for example, like we have Reese. They're all chocolates. Reese is she's like a collared. She looks kind of like tan collared engine runner. She's actually probably the mom of Hershey. Reese is like she has this tendency to like eat a lot, like really eat. And then Sunday, who's like the regulator of the flock. He's like whenever he sees that Reese is eating too much, he's gonna be like push her away, kind of like, okay, that's enough. And then you will see Reese is gonna be like running. She's gonna be like running to my husband, like complaining. And my husband is like, "What do you want me to do?"
I still can't get over Lydia's dog. She's like a kid, just like, oh, it's cuddled
He's
up
a
with mommy.
baby.
Yeah, he's such a baby.
He's a baby. He's like a little snuggle bug. He's like,
He looks very happy.
Buddy, like, will he snuzzle while you read? That's what I want. Like when
he
he's
will.
he can just kind of hang out. I just want him to read with me.
It's like he likes to be like somewhere near you, or if he can be on you, that's nice. But he's very, which is weird because like, you know, Piper is not very snuggly at all. Like she likes to love you from like a 5-foot distance usually. And so it was really weird to get him and have him be like, he's such a huge cuddle bug. It's like, oh my God, it's so lovely. Yeah.
Like, look at him. He's
Some
just
people
like,
like cuddles, others just don't. I mean, like, Milky Way with Mr. D. He's the only one without the chocolate name because we really thought Mr. D was gonna be a girl, so we called her Dahlia. And then he became the flock's alpha duck. He's like the head duck. So it just doesn't make sense to call the head duck Dahlia. So he became Mr. D. So like Mr. D doesn't like being held. It's like he feels like you're harassing him if you like. Basically, you're like killing him if you touch him.
Aw.
And then and here's the irritating part. After you hold, usually we have to hold them to give them medicine or something. So like the moment that I release Mr. D, he's gonna run to the pool and take a bath, and I'm like, I'm not that stinky. Excuse me. I think it's so offensive. It's like did I that I want to like keep smelling it. It makes me wonder. I just took a bath. Why do you think I'm like stinky? Did I stink that much? So like, and at least I'm grateful for my dogs. They don't treat me that way. Although they do have this tendency, if I have like if I just woke up and then I greet them and give them a kiss, like near the nose, like that, and they're gonna be like,
Oh, that's so funny.
it's like, oh, it's so offensive. It's like, "Ew, your breath stinks, Gil. Brush your teeth first before kissing me."
Oh yeah, my dog likes to eat his poop, so I don't like him to kiss me sometimes. I'm like, it's this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's the only thing I don't like about pets is poop. I just can't.
Oh,
No, I can't.
please.
I think it's an important thing to talk about in case any like potential, like if in case any kids are watching the panel, they're like, we should get all these pets. You're like, no, you're gonna have to clean.
No.
You're
The
gonna
bigger
Yeah.
the pet, the bigger the
They
poo.
were back
The
yesterday.
bigger the
It
pet,
was,
the
like,
bigger
full
the
mess.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole puppy stage is like, it's basically one full year of being sleep deprived.
Oh no.
It's,
Yeah.
it's,
Oh.
it's work for sure.
Speaking of which, I do believe that whenever it's near Easter, a lot of kids get gifted little ducklings. And
Yes.
the sad thing about that is that sometimes when they grow out of the, because they would grow up into this like ugly little velociraptor, and then they're gonna turn into beautiful birds, and you get to the point that sometimes they're just not ready for having a duck, and what people usually do is that they dump the ducks in the pond.
Oh
Like
no.
a park, yeah, it's a common thing. In a lot of the duck groups that I'm part of, it's like a real problem, like duck dumping. It's in some states in the US they do believe it's illegal, but people still find a way to do it. And that's the thing about pets. If you need to research beforehand. You need to know the work that goes into having a pet. So discuss it with your mom first, with your dad who's going to take care of the pet once you're in school. Because dogs, like, yeah, there are dogs that get sad when
They
they're
get,
left.
yeah, they miss me when you go away.
Yeah.
So it's a huge responsibility. So that's an important thing to consider first before you decide to get a pet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a life. You're gonna be basically taking care of the life.
I think the other thing is that a lot of people get pets. Like we saw that during lockdown last year.
Yeah.
A lot of people get pets because they think they'll be like this lovely, cuddly companion. And pets have their own personalities. Like, I mean, my cat is he's barely been here. And I mean, I will say that when I got cats, I hoped they would be snuggly and cuddly, and they're not. And if that's what you want from a pet, you may not get it. And I think that's something
Yeah.
to keep in mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really predict what kind of pet you'll get. And they'll still be lovely. They just might not be exactly what you thought they would be.
No, this is an interesting question. Can I take a stab at it? Because apparently
for it.
this actually is right smack into my in Sugar and Spite. Here we go. The reason why there are pets in the cover is because they do factor in a lot in the plot. In terms of culture, here in the Philippines, we have this what you call sagip. Basically saying a spoiler about my book. But yeah, anyway. Sagip is basically like an animal saving you from a disease or a bad fate. So I'm not sure about other cultures, but it's a common thing here in the Philippines. For example, there was this an article that I read. Just a close example from my friend Egeline. She had she has a weak heart. So on the night of her operation, her dog got sick, and then she suddenly got well the next day. And all of us, we believe that the dog might have taken on the sickness.
Wow.
And for example, like there was a time with my dog Kubrick, there was a time I felt like I was about to have a fever, and Kubrick was all, I don't know, like jumpy and happy and just like being generally healthy. And suddenly the next day, I'm all well, and Kubrick is the one sick. When we brought him to the vet asked me like, there's really nothing wrong with him. He just has a fever. We have no idea why. And then he went through all these tests. They're all normal. And then the vet just asked like, is anyone in your family sick? And I said, yeah, it was actually me. I had a fever yesterday. I was like, yeah, probably that's it. He just wanted to save you from that illness, and he doesn't want you to get sick. That's why he took it on for himself. And that's one of the things that's Sagip by itself is defined as it's translated in English as save. So it's a thing that's important to our culture. That's why you'll see a lot of Filipinos having pets. It's kind of like a common thing. I know you're gonna say
I don't know if in like Chinese culture pets are like anything other than, I mean, like I know they had Pekingese, like the small lap dogs in court, and people have like birds are really popular, songbirds. And I think crickets as well, which I'm like, I don't like bugs, so, but I know, like Lydia, you've got a stick insect, right? So that's pretty cool.
We
I guess
have,
it'd be kinda cool
stick
to-
insects. I don't think they'll show up on Zoom very well, but they're at some point in time. There's some pictures on Instagram of our stick bugs, but yeah, like it's funny because like in our home at least, like us having pets has not really been part of my culture as like a Korean American growing up. As far as my parents go, like we had a dog growing up, but like, and my mom had a dog when she was younger, but it was like an outdoor dog, like
like
roped
security.
to the house that wasn't cuddled, and that sort of thing. And so so it's really interesting to see how like growing up in the US, like we've really embraced this sort of having pet thing, but it wasn't it was really different from when my parents were growing up and when my in-laws were growing up. They're Taiwanese. They weren't like cuddly creatures to enjoy in that type of way. So so we've really enjoyed that, but I haven't actually gone so far as to write about it personally. I don't know if you guys have.
I just want to, same thing where my parents, and like when we had a dog, like as a kid, it was like an outdoor dog. So Sandy's like our first like indoor dog. And like, I can tell my dad was just like, oh, I can't believe you're spoiling this dog so much.
Yeah.
Brush her hair every morning, and we like cuddle all the time. Like when we were kids, it was like, don't you dare bring the dog inside the house. Like, well, we're in California, so the weather's a lot nicer year round. So it was like, no, the dog has to go stay in like their house or like the garage or something. Don't bring the dog in your bedroom. Like it was a whole big thing. And now it's like, oh, where's the dog? Let's go sit in the bed. It's like, she's definitely spoiled.
I think one of the funniest things about having an indoor and outdoor pet or an indoor pet is like, there's this whole concept of like in our culture, it's like you leave your shoes at the door and you come in your socks, right? Or your bare feet. The dogs can't take their shoes off. So we've had this sort of like, we've had to twist our mind around like when they run around outside, they're bringing it inside and they can't take their paws off. And so we're like super into like when it's rainy, we like wash their paws and we're constantly giving them paw baths and stuff. So we've adapted them to our culture.
Paw baths. That's interesting.
If it's muddy, if it's muddy,
Yeah.
if it's a little gross outside, because they will come in sometimes and they've like been like running around the backyard and they're just covered in mud from like the chest down. And so we're just like half bath time and we're like, it's raining. Yeah. We're always like, oh, it's raining. I mean,
we wipe our dog's paws when they come in from the garden.
Yeah,
Like,
I do them too.
It's dusty and dirty, and I mean they're totally spoiled. Well, Deuce can't get up on the sofa anymore because he's not very mobile. But this one, the big one, definitely does, and he's like, yeah. So my husband is like, I gotta wipe that. He's like so anal about it, and he's not Chinese, which makes me laugh. He's like, oh, gotta wipe their paws. He's like super. Oh, it's very funny.
That's why we changed our wooden floors to tiles. Because it's so easier to clean. I mean, you just gotta mop it.
Yeah.
Spray it a little with, I don't know, the cleaner and then mop it. You're done. With the wood, there's like, especially if they accidentally pee on it, it's gonna ruin the wooden flooring. So like, when we moved to this house, we changed the wooden flooring in the living room, changed it to tiles. We're having tiles. The dogs are coming in the house, so tiles.
We have like wall-to-wall carpeting upstairs, so we have gone through 3 wetbacks.
Ooh.
3. We were on number 3.
Really?
We have like killed the heck out of 2 of them, but like vomiting, pee, poo. It's like,
Yes. Yeah. We had a black rug in our living room when we had a previous before Obu, we had another dog, and when she got scared, she would have diarrhea and throw up. And so like we were in Hong Kong at the time, so it's a really small house, and so we had this one rug, and we basically, she did it so much, we just chucked it because it was so good. It was like, how do you clean it after a while? And it was like a shaggy rug, so
No, it was like all in there.
so gross.
I think one thing like Sangu is gonna like really relate to is like having wooden furniture. Like the wooden furniture, we also have cats. So we just switched to plastic because like the wooden furniture becomes scratching posts.
Yeah.
What gets me is always the hair, though. Like it's just everywhere. I mean, you hoover up, and it's like the entire like thing is just filled with cat hair.
Oh my god.
And
That's not possible.
no, it is.
Oh my gosh.
They just shed everywhere.
You've got dust
like
bunnies.
weave it into yarn and make a cat sweater out of it.
People do it. It's very warm, apparently. Very, very warm.
Really?
I'll take your word
That's
for it.
interesting.
Well, 2 of our 3 kids are actually allergic to dogs. So when we got dogs, we had to get the kind that don't shed. So and they actually are not, they don't show any allergy symptoms around them, which is great. But like, so sorry, Sangu, we have no shedding in our house. There's like not a single fur
so
ball
jealous.
anywhere.
So jealous.
I did say, I said, can we get a dog that doesn't shed? He was like, oh, everything sheds. Well, now you know.
Like one of the more
Now you
hypoallergen
know.
breeds. So
I mean,
I
I
don't
thought
know. I'm horribly allergic to cats, and she's as close as it gets. Like
fluffy.
cuddly and not too much. Like she doesn't love long walks. Like we match. We just kind of sit together. It's great.
I think her coat. It's something to do with her coat.
Yeah, it's something to do.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't shed as much. There's not as much dander. Like there's supposed to be some like hypoallergenic reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like Lydia was gonna say like we don't our pets don't shed because like you're gonna be talking about like your yeast. Is that like the one that you showed it to me?
No.
Matt?
Does not shed. Neither of them
Does not
do. Like, I always like joke to people, and I'm like, I could be dressed in like black velvet and like rub the dog on me. I'm like,
So jealous.
Lydia has pets.
Always
What kind of
love
dogs
her.
are they, Lydia?
Lydia
What's
has
What
got
kind are they?
you don't shed.
yeah, I know. It's the no shed, super huggable like version. And honestly, it was just it's the luck of the draw. You never know exactly what kind of pet you're gonna get. I think right after this, like one of my friends adopted a beagle, and that beagle just communicates by biting her.
Oh no! Oh.
She just bites all the time, and I.
Was your dog a rescue?
Yeah.
He's
a rescue. He's a rescue puppy, but still, it was like it's just everybody's different. So we're very lucky. We feel a little guilty about that.
Very lucky.
We're very lucky. I'm actually like Hershey here is kind of like a rescue because her mom Reese. If there's one thing about her, she's like the worst mom ever. I mean, I think it's her breed, the Indian Runner breed.
Oh yeah.
What they do is that they lay eggs. They don't care where. It's probably just in a canal or whatever.
Yeah.
They just leave it there, like fend for yourself, whatever. It's like basically leaving them to die. And my husband, I'm going to rescue these dogs. Put them in the incubator, and now you have Hershey.
Oh, you guys! It looks like we have 1 minute left.
Yeah.
So
Good timing. This Riggs just left, so
He's like, I'm done.
Well, if you guys have any more questions, find us on social media because no doubt we all post pictures of our pets. So if you have questions,
Yeah.
Yes.
come find there.
Like, well, why don't we May? Why don't you start and let everyone know where to find you?
Oh, you can find me on my website, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok now.
Oh,
MaeRespicio.com, and I post a ton of dog stuff.
Me, I'm everywhere as Gail D Villanueva.com. And that's my website, by the way. And my username on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you can think of is Gail D Villanueva because I just forget things easily. So I just stick to one. So, by the way, you can also catch me in Fiza Azad on Tuesday, May 25 at 8 p.m. ET. We're going to be on Instagram Live. We're going to be talking about reading culture in stories. So I hope you catch us there as well.
yay.
Yay. Tracy.
Hi. I'm on Twitter at Tracy B Writes, Instagram at Tracy Badua Writes. Sandy has an Instagram. She has more followers than I do. She's at Sandy Dog Millionaire. And you can also catch me on my website, tracybadua.com.
I'm going to follow Sandy.
She's way more popular than me. This is the only reason, like I have to keep her front and center, or people will just like block me out.
Oh. I'm at AY_Chao, AY_CHAO on both Twitter and Instagram. My website is aychao.com, so you can find me there.
I'm you can find me mostly on Instagram at Lydia Kang, and there should be a little link there because Piper and Sawyer have their own Instagram account, and it's just all Piper, all Sawyer, all the time. So if you just need a little puppy break, you can go check and see what they're doing. So yeah, and I think that's at Piper Sushi Poo, but I think it's linked on my Instagram. So
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Sangu Mandanna, and my website is sangumandanna.com.
Cool. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
I
thank
hope
you.
we hope you enjoyed because we have so much fun as well.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly calm.
Yes.
You did great.
Any incidents aside from me getting hooked on twice?
oh,
Yeah, it happened.
Oh, and Riggs has come to say goodbye.
Oh, Rick says goodbye. So, yeah, let's. Sorry, baby. She wants to say goodbye.
Bye,
so
Okay,
cute.
say goodbye, baby.
So cute, so cute.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Sandy.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.